Chapter 1: Origin and Background of the Kharkov to Donetsk Battle. The war in Ukraine entered August 30, 2025, witnessing extremely tense developments on the two hottest fronts today, Kharkov in the northeast and Donetsk in the Donbass region. These are not just two names on the map, but also two spearheads symbolizing the struggle of strength, intelligence, and even nerves of both sides. To put it simply, if the entire war is likened to a chess game, then Kharkov is the chariot being torn apart on the left wing of the board, and Donetsk is the knight that always makes unexpected moves that are difficult for the opponent to predict. And in both places, Ukraine and Russia do not want to lose, because once lost, the chess game is considered cracked. 1. Kharkov, simultaneous defense and attack line. Kharkov is not a new city on Russia's target list. From the very beginning of the war in 2022, Russia has sought to control the area. But so far, Kharkov remains in Ukrainian hands despite a series of missile attacks, artillery, and even infantry assaults. Why is Kharkov important? First, it is the second largest city in Ukraine, after Kiev. Economically and politically, if Kharkov falls, Ukraine's image and morale will be severely damaged. Second, Kharkov is located close to the border with Russia, only about 30 kilometers from the Belgorod region. This makes it like a gateway. Once opened, Russian troops can advance deep into the center of Ukraine. Third, Kharkov is also an important logistics transit point, connecting railways and highways from east to west. If you look at the defense map, you will see Kharkov as a bottleneck. Russia wants to tighten to cut off Ukraine's logistics bloodline, while Ukraine says, "This is a family restaurant, we cannot let it go." The two sides fight over every table and chair, every bowl of pho. But behind that bowl of pho is a whole supply chain of vegetables, beef, rice, that is, war logistics. 2. Donetsk, the heart of Donbass. If Kharkov is important in terms of defense strategy, Donetsk is the heart of the Donbass war. Since 2014, this place has become a pro-Russian separatist region and is now almost the home ground of Russian-backed forces. Ukraine clearly understands that if Russia controls all of Donetsk, retaking Donbass is considered impossible. Therefore, the battles here are as fierce as any other front. On the defense map, Donetsk is like a pothole located right in the middle of the highway connecting major cities in the east. Ukraine wants to fill this pothole to make it easier to travel, while Russia deliberately digs deeper to make its opponents stumble. An easy-to-understand example: you ride a motorbike on the road, encounter a pothole, and have to swerve or jump up. In Donetsk, each pothole is a barrage of artillery, an airstrike blocking the road, and as a result, thousands of soldiers have to pay the price. 3. Causes of escalating tensions in Kharkov and Donetsk. There are three main reasons why these two hotspots flared up fiercely at the end of August 2025. Russia wants to create an overwhelming position before winter. History has proven that winter has always been an annoying ally of Russia. But for winter to be effective, Moscow must gain the upper hand before ice and snow slow down the pace of the campaign. Ukraine seeks to demonstrate its ability to fight back. After a series of difficulties with international aid, Ukraine needs to show the world that it is still capable of fighting back, especially on key fronts. International political impact. In September, many important conferences of the European Union and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization will take place. Both Russia and Ukraine want to have achievements to bring to the negotiating table. The size of the war on two fronts. The war in Kharkov and Donetsk is not just a matter of territory. It has far-reaching implications. Militarily, it determines who controls the logistics arteries. Politically, it directly affects the morale of the people and diplomatic relations. Psychologically, both sides consider this a test of courage. A military general once said, "Losing Kharkov is like losing Ukraine's left arm. Losing Donetsk is like losing its heart." Chapter 2. Donetsk, the fiery front and the endless war. If Kharkiv is a vital defensive wall of Ukraine in the northeast, Donetsk is the fuse that never goes out in the southeast. For more than a decade, since 2014 when the war broke out in the Donbass region, Donetsk has become the focus of every fierce battle, a place that both sides consider must-have. 1. Donetsk, symbol and blood price. For Russia, Donetsk is not only a land rich in coal and metals, but also a political symbol. The Kremlin once declared that Donetsk is an inseparable part of the Russian world. Therefore, controlling this city has an honorable meaning, just like whoever holds the heart will control the whole body. For Ukraine, Donetsk is a wound in the heart, a once bustling, wealthy city, now reduced to rubble by bombs and bullets. Keeping Donetsk on the map of Ukraine is not only a territorial responsibility, but also an affirmation that Kiev has not abandoned its people. 2. Fierce battlefield, where every meter of land is exchanged for blood. Since 2022, the fighting around Donetsk has never stopped. Names like Avdiivka, Bakhmut, Marinka have become symbols of ferocity. Every meter of land here is fought with sweat, blood, and tears. A Ukrainian officer once said, "We measure distance not in kilometers, but in the number of fallen comrades." According to the defense map of August 2025, Russia has occupied most of Donetsk Oblast, but still cannot fully control the city of Donetsk, as well as important surrounding areas. Artillery from both sides constantly exchange fire. Drone and missile attacks occur almost every night. People in this area live in a state of hearing bullets during the day, hearing bombs at night. Why is Donetsk so hot? There are three main reasons. Economic. Donetsk is the coal barn of Ukraine, with large coal mines, once contributing up to 20% of the country's GDP. Whoever controls this area will also control the energy source and heavy industry. Strategic. Donetsk is connected to Mariupol, an important seaport on the Sea of Azov, the gateway to the Black Sea. If Russia holds on to Donetsk, they can create a strategic corridor from Rostov, Russia, to Crimea. Political. This is the center of the so-called Donetsk People's Republic, established by separatists, supported by Russia since 2014. Therefore, who controls this place has global political significance. 4. Initial results and profound significance. In the last days of August 2025, Ukraine launched several counterattacks around Donetsk to contain the pressure from Russia. However, the situation remained stalemate. Neither side had an overwhelming advantage, and the war was like a long-term chess game, where every move was carefully calculated. The significance of the war in Donetsk went far beyond the battlefield. It was a message to the world. Ukraine would not give up, Russia would not retreat. Both sides considered this an honorable battle. Chapter 3. Comprehensive impact, when Kharkiv and Donetsk shaped the entire war. After looking at Kharkiv and Donetsk, we can see that these are not just two single fronts, but also two scales that decide the entire situation of the Ukraine-Russia war. 1. Military consequences, a tense chess game. The war in Kharkiv and Donetsk has pushed both sides' armies to the limit. Russia has consumed a large amount of artillery and ammunition, while Ukraine has suffered heavy losses. Each counterattack or defense has changed the defense map every day, but neither side has won an absolute victory. A familiar image on the military map, the red and blue arrows constantly overlap, retreat, and advance. Like a chess game, just one wrong move can change the whole situation. 2. Economic consequences. A war that empties the pockets.
The long-term war has caused both Russia and Ukraine to spend heavily. Russia has faced new sanctions, while Ukraine is heavily dependent on international aid. Some experts say Donetsk and Kharkiv are not only battlefields of bombs and bullets, but also places to measure economic endurance. For example, just maintaining the shelling of Donetsk for a week costs millions of dollars. An anti-aircraft missile can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, while the target is just a drone of a few $1,000s. This is a game of attrition that no one wants to prolong. 3. Humanitarian consequences. Wounds that are difficult to heal. Kharkiv and Donetsk were once densely populated cities, but now only desolate neighborhoods remain. People were forced to evacuate. Thousands of families were separated. Children born during the war are more familiar with the sound of sirens than school bells. This is the greatest tragedy that no military map can show. 4. International significance. The whole world is watching. Both Kharkiv and Donetsk are stages for the world to watch. The European Union, the US, NATO, China, and many other countries are watching every development, because the results on these two fronts will decide the future of the country, the future of the international order, whether there will be a redistribution of power or the current situation will continue. Conclusion and call to action. The battles of Kharkiv and Donetsk in August 2025 are not just two battles, but a symbol of the persistence, complexity, and ferocity of the entire Ukraine-Russia war. Kharkiv, the steel wall protecting Kiev. Donetsk, the political and economic fuse of the Donbas region. While these two battlefields are still burning, peace is still far away. People must continue to live in the fire, and the world is still not at peace. As a channel specializing in analyzing history and war, History and War hopes to bring readers the clearest, most honest, and profound view of what is happening. If you find this analysis useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that we have more motivation to continue sharing more quality content. War may change the map, but it is important that we do not lose our humanity. Let us follow, learn, and draw lessons from these historical changes.